Before we begin, for my lovely TikTok community, we have 2 videos uploaded on YouTube. I'm trying a new format, and so we'll be alternating. Yes, that's the right word. And so I will just let you know to follow YouTube in case you want to also see the videos that will not be posted on TikTok. Okay, now for our conversation. How, yes, people who need to prove themselves to each other and to themselves, adaptive child, emotional insecure behavior. So I'm attachment trauma informed, and I come here to share about the beauty of being an infinite higher human conscious potential person, 5D mystic here, the 5D oneness consciousness, it's Christ consciousness. And yes, Christ, he was not only welcomed with mistrust, disbelief, fear, and non-acceptance. His name also gets completely used for, I don't even know how many different ways that do not lead with the example that he brought to us, which is how to be able and be a restorative embodiment of ourselves right now. But I understand why philosophers, meaning, when you have scripture, qualitative, anything that is subjective, why there's controversy. And so, yeah, I loved academia, and I still do. I love it for the researchers, and I loved it for the capacity to be able and learn. But I did not love it for a lot of other reasons, meaning once I got out, I'm like, am I going to do content for the academics, or am I going to do it for the people? I'm going to do it for the people. And here's why: woo-woo pseudoscience, because the academics are doing all of their data. And I know the difference between qualitative and quantitative. And also nobody's on a pedestal, because again, I forgot to say. So emotionally mature people, we know we have insecurities like I did as a teenager and adolescent. And I also got to learn recently with attachment trauma information what happens to our brains as adolescents. So the pruning process, which is when I definitely didn't match my value body and heart body, and I did learn how I would not be proving to people anything regarding my faith. And my decision to walk the walk, thank you Jesus, is forgive them, turn the other cheek. Not in a way of subjecting myself. No, this is where I have no shame button, because I have a 0-1-year-old and a 3-year-old that doesn't have this shame thing that I learned about. Not even a little bit. Nope. And actually, I know why. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I did get to actually know all about confrontation, and I got to recalibrate, because I kept getting told by my mother, share space, share space, share space. So I wasn't said or told that you're defective, daughter of mine. You're different. No, I was handled like a child can be handled by an actual one or more parent who understands how yelling at a child and being in your sympathetic, you're scaring shitlessly the child. I am still a child inside, and when I see angry people, I don't want to be around them. And they will say, are you afraid? Well, you know what? Maybe I am. My nervous system doesn't like you, because my child, inner one, it keeps living. So yeah, I don't like when you get angry. I'm also 4'9". I'm okay with my body protecting me. And when you get teased for it as a kid growing up, it's okay. You're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to play with you. So again, no, we don't prove anything. We're okay with being afraid, because I know my brain's smart enough to stay away from the people who are in their sympathetic, because they don't know how to actually regulate their own nervous system. So as I got older, I just learned use my time, yes, wisely. Okay, so when I see people on screen with the adaptive child behavior, which is maladaptive, I do understand why they're not motivated to do anything about it. It's because they have the group, the 4th way to heal your adaptive child behavior, which means it's a charged state. An immature, I will use immature, insecure. We all can have them. Difference is I don't have triggers anymore, except for with my twin and my mother. Yes, that's where my 3-year-old still comes up. And I have been able to, in time, since I was like 16, work on it. Why? Oh, it didn't match my heart body and value body. The reactivity is completely imbalanced. But I was talking also about the brain. So our brain has this pruning process by the time we're an adolescent. So we go from our attachment system looking to our home, which is my mother and twin primarily, as I was Yes, until I was of the age of 11, only one sibling. Then at the age of 11, I have my baby sister, and she's my baby, and I decided that I would spoil her to the death of her. Anytime she cried in the crib, guess who would go pick her up? And my mother would leave her alone. Nope, I can't handle hearing her cry, not because it was annoying, but because it made my heart very sad. So I would go and I got her and she would sleep with me. And then when we got older, sometimes she would still come cuddle with me. And that's what I love about being a gooey, ooey, ooey, whole 3-year-old heart. And you know what happens when you have compersion and nothing to prove because you have what's actual confidence? And you're a teenager because you're like, you know what, you're all acting really stupid. I acted stupid too, but now that I did learn that the grown-ups were right, and then my pruning process was also done, and so I also learned that I wouldn't attach to any of those teenagers. They were all unsafe, which is what an emotionally insecure human being is, because they're triggerable. So whenever I see anybody who has to prove anything to anyone, I know that they are Peter Pans with lost boys, else a journey, and they haven't gotten to the end. They don't know that they have the same 0-1-year-old, the same 3-year-old that I do, and that the difference is I got lucky, because I got a secure attachment, differentiated 3-year-old self who got to share space with another tiny person like myself, so I'm not afraid of humans, which is also why I don't have this thing called misanthropy. Hatred, dislike, distrust of humankind. It's also why I do know what Jesus meant when he said, forgive them. And I also knew what God meant when he said, I made you just the way I wanted you to be made. And when he says, don't act like me. And I see a lot of people acting like God. And today I use the word Akach because I'm a 5D mystic. And you know, the mystics aren't all accepted or welcome. People think yoga brings demons out of your body. Also, I am a Reiki master, and theologians have made it their mission to decide to do qualitative research because, you know, there's a difference between quantitative, and it's so specific. And people don't usually look at it because, as I've been shared and told, and as I know, it's dry and boring, but I do love academics because they're the ones who are awesome. As they speak about, should we really use the word inherently good or evil with humans? So sciences people are the ones who know things, and then the sciences people are also open to mystic woo-woo lady here, because they do look into the lovely relational field in different ways. And, you know, this is the part. There's a lot of still questions. Of course there are. That's the fun of being a whole 3-year-old heart. So when you don't have anything to prove, because Elsa, her journey is to get home to her whole 3-year-old heart. So you're a 0-1-year-old. You have a 0-1-year-old like I do. We all have these child parts, even though, again, I'm not the one with the proof. It's the other people that are the academics that are the ones with the proof. So I'm pseudo-science lady because I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together. But what I also bring is what actual badass is, which is a loving, kind, compassionate Pacha type person. Because you know what Pacha does with Cusco? He shakes his hand and he says, I mean it. And he doesn't take his word back. And that's what an integrated brain, thank you, Daniel Siegel, a somatic empath, a person who has compassion. And really what it is I'm defective. No, I'm imperfect and flawed. I have a subjective experience like you do. The difference is I'll be able to say I'll be emotional, accountable, aware. I'll also self-regulate my nervous system. So when you say that you're not being cold and like ice and, you know, you're 360, changing your mind without involving me, you know, so many things. So many things that self-empowered can talk about. It's not because we're smart that we meet human beings who we just shut my brains right now. See, this is something I learned as I was a kid, because I learned something from Jesus and God. Maria, be humble. And I learned from Terry Real what humble is. It's healthy self-worth. I'm fearless and bold. I'm not going to shout at you. I'm just going to be quiet, and I'm going to wait till you're done. Then I'm going to be out, because I just wasted my time, because when an adoptive child is in the room, they're going to be trying to prove their point. As Terry Real points out, adoptive children, they're not interested in a conversation. And as I learned, their brain is in fact in their default mode network, chit-chatter. They're using their 8-year-old, first 8 years of life, whatever maladaptive child behavior kept them safe at home with a human being. So whenever I meet teenagers, usually they're going to try to prove a point that's not intellectually, emotionally, or physically interesting to a human being who's self-empowered, which is an unconditionally loving, integrated brain, again, and a restorative embodiment. Your mammalian heritage and mine. We build 5D relationships. We talk about oneness consciousness, mystic. It's very fun. We don't have sagas with our twin flame or flames or soulmates, because there are no energy vampires. They're human beings. It's very disrespectful of the community of people who talk about their loved ones. And, oh, brothers and sisters, the big cloth. It doesn't really change. It just says the same thing in different languages. That's for the grown-up brains, though. Tune in for more and have a great day.